Welcome to The Philosophical Detail, a podcast where we discuss ethical and controversial topics. Today we're going to discuss abortion. Should it be legal or should it not be? We have two teams here. Team A is pro-choice and Team B is pro-life. So let me give you guys a little bit of a history of how this debate came to be. In the early 1900s, Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, was with the eugenics rhetoric and promoted abortion to people deemed feeble-minded. While she promoted abortions for feeble-minded people and illegal citizens, she did not agree with pro-choice. Time skipping to the 1960s, on the second wave of feminism, two men, Larry Ladder and Dr. Bernard Nathanson, convinced feminist leaders to adopt a pro-choice ideal for their feminist movement. And later in 1973, in Roe v. Wade, abortion became legal. All right, so we're going to start off with the ladies here. Please introduce yourself and on what side you are, and let's do this.
Hi, my name is Kate, and I'm representing Team A, the pro-choice team. I believe that individuals should have the right to make their own decisions about their bodies and reproductive health. One fact about abortion is that it has been a legal and widely debated healthcare issue in the United States for decades. I'm looking forward to seeing what both my teammates and opponents have to say about this issue.
Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm pro-choice because I believe that the decision whether a woman should have an abortion or not should be made between her and her doctor, not the government. And I say this because there could be multiple reasons as to why that woman is pregnant, and it could have been because it wasn't consensual, it was against her own will, or there could be various reasons. She could be young in school and has a whole life ahead of her, and it could be very selfish if she were to have this baby and didn't have the right resources to take care of it properly, and would basically raise that baby and have a very hard life, not only for her but for the baby as well. And I believe that the mother would know best whether or not it's right for her to have this baby or not. And according to the Guttmacher Institute, 73% of women seeking abortion said that they could not afford a baby at that time. Many women also say that they're too young, financially unstable, or not emotionally prepared to raise a child. Going off of that, it could also be that they're in an abusive relationship, or they're single and they don't want to raise the baby alone. But other than that, there could be multiple reasons as to why they can't or shouldn't have the baby.
Now that we heard from both pro-choice participants, let's hear from the pro-life side.
Hi, my name is Kendall Owen. I am on Team B, the pro-life side. I believe that the actions of the mother and the father should not fall consequence to the child. And I believe that every life is valuable, even though it is in the womb. I believe this because in a book by Miss Kathleen Stensenberger called The Developing Person, it states that in the 7th week past conception, the child starts to develop eyes, nose, digestive system, heart, and toes. And by the 8th week, so within 5 days, give or take, the child has all of these organs and body parts.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm Team B. I'm in pro-life, and the reasons is that the conviction that humans, beings, are created in God's image, and that life is divine gift. No one has authority to end. According to what does pro-life mean? Pro-life describes a movement built on the belief that human life begins at conception and that every unborn child deserves legal protection. And another one says a new organization formed with its own DNA different from either parent. The evidence are, according to pro-life arguments you must know, it says life begins at conception conspection with a unique set of DNA, marking a new human organization. And then the second evidence is life is scary, and every human being possesses inherent dignity and the right to life.
All right. Now that we heard both perspectives, we're going to take a moment for our break. Our sponsor for today is Planned Parenthood.
What I'm fighting for is simple. For the hands that reach for mine. For turning hard work into a future. For making my own medical decisions. I'm for Planned Parenthood because when I put on this gown, I know I'll feel seen, not judged. I know I'm getting the care I need. I know they're fighting for my health care, for my freedom to show up here, so I can show up there.
All right, now that we're back from the break, both teams are going to have a more conversational setting here. And let me start off with a question for both teams. Should women be forced to carry out a pregnancy?
No, I don't believe that women should be forced to carry out a pregnancy, and this is because it is a violation of their basic human and bodily autonomy. Because a full-term pregnancy has lifelong and physical and emotional impacts, I believe that this decision must be made solely on the individual. As an article in the Amnesty International points out, everyone should be free to exercise their bodily autonomy and make their own decisions about their reproductive lives. So when the law strips this choice away, they take away the person's control over their physical body, turning a private medical matter into a state decision. Protecting the right to choose is the only way to ensure that people can have true ownership over their bodies and futures. True body ownership, to me at least, means that an individual's physical body cannot be used as a political or legal tool by the state.
The problem with this is that it is not the mother's anatomy, it is in fact the child's. In an abortion, from Science Insights, it states that in an abortion, a thin tube is inserted into the uterus and it's connected to a suction device, either a handheld syringe or an electric pump, meaning that the child or fetus is being torn apart by the suction. A website by the name of Choices states that in a medical abortion, your baby is forced to detach from the uterine lining. Without that source of nutrients, your baby eventually starves to death. While in the same article, in a surgical abortion, he or she won't entirely fit into the vacuum, which will result in the baby being sucked apart piece by piece. If we go into the development of a child at this stage, at just 4 weeks, your baby's brain and spinal cord have already begun to form. The heart begins to form, as well as arms and leg buds, and that information comes from American SPCC from 2026.
I do not believe that women should be forced to carry out a pregnancy. I believe that pregnancy is a personal decision that should be made by the individual, not the government, as I said before. Every situation is different. And as I said before, a lot of women may face health complications, financial struggles, and mental health challenges. And yes, the baby may be formed as stated before by Kendall, but it doesn't have feelings yet. It doesn't have any time in the outside world, and it doesn't know the challenges that it may face if the mother were to have said baby.
I absolutely disagree with Ashley, because if a woman doesn't want to give birth, she is basically killing an innocent soul that has no control over the situation and deserve the chance to live and experience the life.
The fetus develops a heartbeat at 4 to 5 weeks old. Does a heartbeat indicate valuable life? So we're going to have Kendall respond first here.
I think that yes, if the organism has a heartbeat, then yes, it is alive and it is valuable. The reason for this is that in situations If you are trying to see if there is someone who is alive or unfortunately passed, you check the pulse, you check the heartbeat. Heartbeat equals life.
I agree with Kendall to an extent. Yes, in order to see if a person is alive, you do check their heartbeat. But in the womb, as I've stated multiple times before, the baby doesn't know the challenges that it's going to face outside when they're born. So is that really a credible, viable answer to that question, or is that a valid response since they don't know what they're facing or what they're going to face? But it is up to the mother, and I don't think it should be up to, again, the government. So I do think that they should be given at least the option to figure out or choose whether or not they want the baby or not, depending on the circumstances or what the situation may be. But I do somewhat agree with what Kendall had to say.
I agree with Ashley at some point and also disagree. I agree that the child may not be able to do the same thing that the regular child can do. But I also disagree because that the child got born like this. He doesn't have any control with his development. And this is why I can't compare with a normal child because it is a different situation.
From a biological standpoint, a heartbeat is an indicator of an active functioning organism, signaling that a unique human life has already begun its development. So I agree in the sense that a fetus with a heartbeat has its distinct genetic identity already. Institutions like the National Institutes of Health emphasize that a developing fetus is the same biological substance as an adult human. Even knowing this, though, a heartbeat alone does not indicate consciousness, awareness, since the brain structures require to perceive pain, thought, or emotion, and that does not develop until much later in the pregnancy. So no, I do not believe that it indicates valuable life just yet.
Okay, so now that everyone responded to the question, it sounds like the only common ground that was reached that is the following, that a heartbeat means that it's alive. But just because a fetus is alive does not necessarily indicate value to the pro-choice team, but it does indicate as much value as a newborn for the pro-life. And here's where the debate just cannot find any common ground. There's still much that is open for the discussion, and unfortunately we did not have as much time as I would like to have. A proper podcast would be like about an hour to really get into the nitty-gritty of this discussion. But yeah, to wrap it all up, Kate says that, well, the mother should have the choice to choose if she wants to continue with the pregnancy. Ashley also supports that idea. Kendall over here, she says no, life is very valuable and it should be preserved, and aborting is kind of like the same thing as killing a newborn. Sandra also agrees with the same premise, that life should be protected at all costs. All right, that about wraps it all up. This has been the philosophical detail. It's been a privilege to be able to give this information and discuss this information here, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope it provokes some thought to maybe research into the topic a little bit more and find out what the truth is for you. This has been Philosophical Detail. Catch you in the next episode.